I remember exactly what it was like to be a teenager. And I used to think that that was strange until the years kept passing and I realized actually it's my superpower. It feels like I can make a connection with any teen. I think it's because I remember what it was like so vividly. Now, if you find yourself here watching this video and meeting me for the first time, I want to make sure that I introduce myself. My name is Lucy Colangelo, and I'm a corporate communications expert that's turned into a curiosity coach. I had a career working with big brands like Hilton, as well as with entrepreneurs and small to medium sized businesses. After I got married, I started a family and I went into consulting and eventually took a huge pivot in my career to working in parent and teen communications. I felt called to this work. I felt called to change the conversation. It's more than my passion. I believe it's my calling. It's a specific kind of conversation that I started to see, and it started emerging in my own conversations with my kids, but also all around me. Clients were expressing that my clarity mapping strategies were helping them, and they were always making jokes like, "Where were you when I was a teenager?" Or, "I could have used this when I was in high school." They were admitting to me that they didn't really know who they were, and I was helping them get clear on their identity, and in reality, all I thought I was doing is creating a marketing plan and a strategy to tell a story online and social media. But really, my clients were experiencing this empowerment and their sense of self worth and their confidence was growing. And the results that I was creating for them just kept me wondering, how does this all fit in? They started asking me questions like, "Come work with my teen. Help me create this kind of conversation with my uh, sometimes adult young people." And so I was like, I couldn't resist to help and support, of course, but I couldn't help um, trying to. I was feeling stuck at some points, thinking, how do I fit into all of this? I'm not sure, but let's keep going. We can do clarity mapping and we can find our way. And that's how I find myself here today. Then one day, I was at my local community center. It was spring break, and my daughter was enrolled in a basketball camp. I had brought my work there just for a change of scenery. And I was sitting there, and I saw a mom that I recognized walk by to the track. She was there to go for a walk, and I realized she looked really stressed. I packed up my things and I went to see if she wanted some company. She welcomed me to walk with her and she opened up about what was happening and how stressed she was about her daughter. She shared that her daughter had attempted suicide a few months earlier and they had she expressed to me and shared how she didn't know that her daughter was in such a dark place. She expressed her fears and her experience of the process of getting her daughter help. The doctors, the counselors and therapists had all done their part, and now her daughter was expressing that this wasn't the help she needed anymore, but that she still needed help. That's when I made a decision. I told the mom I thought I could help. I explained, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor. I'm in communications, and I think what your daughter is desperate for is to be in a new conversation with herself. That's what I said. I think she's ready to leave the past in the past and look to creating her future. I expressed to this mom that I felt scared. I told her I've never done anything like this before. I told the mom I have this thing that's called a clarity map, and all my business clients love it. And they always tell me they wish they had it when they were teens, and they ask me to work with their teens. I think this is something that your daughter would enjoy. Is it something you'd like to try? I offered to teach her daughter clarity mapping. I have this playbook and exercises in it, and I thought it'll help her process what's going on, to get to know herself better and practice developing a future focus. I shared that it could even help her figure out what she wants out of life and get out there and get into creating it for herself. I promised I would never talk about the past. I promised if she brings anything up from the past, we'll get right into reframing it as what we can learn from it and how it can help create her future. She agreed she wanted to try it, and she said she would go home and offer it to her daughter. Her daughter said she was in, and we arranged a session, 90 minutes. We met at the library. I brought the playbook, and we had a great conversation. We went through all the steps of the clarity map, and we had a wonderful time. Later on that night, that same night, I loved receiving a text from the mom, and she said that her daughter had come home with the playbook, and apparently they sat on the bed and talked, and she shared everything that she had learned and everything that she was looking forward to. I remember mom was so excited to see her daughter so enlivened and inspired about her life again. Apparently, my session was just what she needed. Clarity mapping was just what she needed. A few months later, I asked to meet with the mom to get some feedback on the experience. And at one point, mom was apologizing that they hadn't needed to book more sessions with me. And we laughed and laughed because that was never the goal. The transformation was the goal. I was thrilled to have been able to create an experience that had impacted and transformed her daughter's outlook in such a positive way. That's when mom got my attention and said, Lucy, you changed the trajectory of our daughter's life. I don't know where we'd be without it. Those words fundamentally shifted everything for me. I didn't know it at the time, but it was the catalyst that caused me to completely shift my focus and my direction in my career. I set out to do more sessions and figure out how to spread the word about this work. I wanted to create these clarity mapping transformations for more parents and teens. I believe all kids should grow up with clarity maps and they should all have their own playbooks. That's the big revelation I had, that clarity mapping is an incredibly powerful tool to help us create connection and develop our young people towards a bright future. The reason why this is so important is that it's something we can't do for them. The teen years are very special years. It's the time in their lives where they're discovering who they are for the very first time. We need to capture all that goodness. We need tools to help support them. This goes beyond the classroom. This needs to be part of growing up. Teens, you know, you know this in your heart. You need to know that parents may know a lot about you. We've known you for a very long time, but we cannot know the greatness and the potential that lies dormant inside of you, just waiting to be discovered. That's your journey. All we can do is support and encourage you to get curious and start exploring and discovering these things for yourselves. We will be here to support you, but you are in the driver's seat. Fun fact, that first young girl that I worked with is currently away at university, and she's pursuing a career in an area of law that she is excited about. I occasionally run into mom, and we're always excited to share and catch up on where life is taking her. It's such a joy to hear how she's finding her way. That change in trajectory drives everything I do. I want to help start creating that for you.